Okay, making honeycomb, which is our replication of pumice. What we've got to do is we've got to make the larva, and we're going to make the larva out of candy, and the easiest way to do that is we're going to measure out 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Now I don't have a 3/4 cup measure, so I've got a 1/4 cup measure, and 3 times 1/4 equals 3/4, or I could use a 1/2 and a 1/4. An estimate of 2 tablespoons of honey. Now the honey, you can use golden syrup instead if you want, but I think the honey tastes, and we need to heat this until the sugar becomes an amber colour or a caramel colour. You don't have to stir it all the time, but you can if you want. The recipe also says a couple of tablespoons of water. So I'm going to measure in there a couple of goes. We've got all of our sugar melted. It's a nice amber colour. There's some bubbles in it. Right. Now we go to making the real bubbles. Okay, so we chuck that in and we whisk it up, and it makes a froth. Don't over whisk it while you chuck it into a greased pan. You can see that there. Chuck it into a greased pan. Probably scrape it out if you can. Turn your heat off. Oh, I'm going to get some dense bits there. Just leave that to cool. It needs to be cold before we do anything more with it. So this is the honeycomb. I've put it in the fridge and let it go hard, and pulled it out of the container that I had it in, and now we can have a look at it, and we can see that there's holes formed in it, quite big ones here and here, a bit like scoria rather than pumice. But if we look at the side, we can see that the honeycomb's made up of lots of little holes, very similar to the pumice. Now's the fun bit. I'm going to break this in half and have a look inside and see that. That's the honeycomb, and see all the holes that it's made up of, just like pumice. So the next thing to do is to do an experiment. I'm not eating it just yet. I'm going to do an experiment, break it up a bit. Now I'm going to do a few experiments to see how similar honeycomb is to pumice. Okay? So let's have a look. Does it look like pumice? Yes. Tick. Does it taste like pumice? No, it tastes like honey. And I'm pretty sure pumice doesn't taste like honey. I don't recommend that you taste it, but if you're brave, you know, geologists do lick rocks. Anyway, the big question here is, does it float? But I haven't tasted pumice. I don't recommend you do. Here's our test. Does it float like pumice? Look at that. It does. Honeycomb floats like pumice. Well, there you go. What other tests can you do to see how similar honeycomb is to pumice? Have we replicated an igneous rock? I think we have.